Hello everybody and welcome back to CS4962. We're going to continue with our video lectures by talking a little bit more broadly about technical documentation today. This quiz should be a little bit tougher than the last one since the last one mainly dealt with procedural issues. Today we're going to talk about what technical documents are and how our knowledge of them can help us to create a strong project report. Today, we're going to introduce the concept of technical documentation and talk about how our knowledge of technical documentation can help you with your report in this class. I will be using the text Practical Strategies for Technical Communication, 3rd edition, as I go through some of its principles. Well, let me use this opportunity to talk a little bit about myself again. I am, as you know, an English major. That means that I like books, long books, old books, books about gods, magic, and books about human suffering and joy. So when I was given the opportunity to teach technical writing, I was not super excited. When I thought about technical writing, I thought about all the unimaginative pieces of text like product manuals, copyright information, and the dreaded iTunes agreement. Oh, that sweet epic poem, the iTunes agreement. So I prepared to teach a dry and boring class about grammar and format. But when I really started to get into this class and planning for it, I discovered that technical writing is not really the most boring way to write, and it actually creates a whole new way of seeing the world. For what I'm talking about, let's take a trip to just outside of Mexico City at the ancient site of Teotihuacan. This is the Pyramid of the Sun. It's enormous, as you can see. You can't even really see the people on the top. If you're curious, the Pyramid of Giza would go up to about here. So it's pretty comparable in size. And yeah, just an amazing thing that was completed in the year 200 AD. But it was constructed over the course of hundreds of years. But no technical documentation exists that showed us the blueprints for this. But I want us to think more broadly about what a technical document is. Mike Markel, author of Practical Strategies of Technical Communication, in the broad definition of the term technical document, the instructions for constructing the pyramid, however they were delivered, was a technical document. In ancient cultures, technical documents were inseparable from cultural activities. But in a certain way, the same is true today. Let's take another example. Now, as I learned more about technical communication and technical writing, I began to see that technical documentation is actually everywhere, defining the way that we engage with our world. Take, for example, a door. There are plenty of ways of opening a door, and the appearance of that door communicates how to engage with it. The door may have a knob, and its features appear to correlate with your own hand, which communicates that you can manipulate it in some way. If a door doesn't have a knob, there may be a way to indicate how it does open. At the same time, the makers of a door expect certain information to have already been transmitted to you culturally so that you will not be shocked to see a door that opens automatically. In this video, you can see how you can abuse that cultural knowledge to create confusion. These pranksters have placed an automatic door warning on a door with no automatic opener. Also, they have removed the handle, which is kind of weird. But it goes to show how much technical information is quickly absorbed by an individual to form conclusions about how to engage with the world. What an exciting video. Let's think about the way your documents are situated in their cultural context. You may worry, or maybe you don't, but you may think, oh, I'm not a great writer. I don't get great grades on my writing projects, and it's not my best skill. Well, what if you actually are just really good at reading your audience, and your audience tells you, write better, but really you don't have to. Why? You might have a lack of imagination, and when you think of your audience, you just think about your teacher. Now that's perfectly reasonable, as it requires no imagination and is in fact the truth. But what are some cultural aspects of your teacher that might lead you to write the way you do? Your teacher already understands the topic you're writing about, usually. So transmitting information about that topic could be limited, and you'd still get the message across. Your teacher wants what's best for you, so when they see a comma splice, they're going to think, that's okay, he'll get it next time, and they don't want to fail people or ruin their lives because of errors, especially when the teacher themselves can read right through the error as they know the topic. Your teacher is also not put in danger by misunderstanding your text. If they don't get a sentence, that's okay. It's kind of this field of play where nothing is actioned in the real world. And on top of all that, they're paid a salary to try to pull your text apart and to make sense of what you're saying, to understand who you are as a student and whether or not you comprehend the material. But let's reimagine our audience, especially when doing this project report. This report, this project that you're doing, this computer program, it can exist in the real world. And many of the projects that are created in this course are going to be modified slightly and enter the real world. And in addition, the projects you do in the future, they might have real world import. And in the real world, you're not looking at your teacher, you're thinking about somebody who maybe doesn't know about your project. Someone without an investment in your future. They only want what's best for them. Not that that's bad, that's the way that our system works. This is also someone who could potentially be inconvenienced or even put into danger due to a misunderstanding of your text. This is especially true for civil engineers. I know you're computer engineers, so it's not like a computer program can break someone's bones or something if they misalign something. Nothing's going to collapse maybe on their head, but it can happen in other engineering jobs. Additionally, you might want to ask, are computer programs dangerous? And what happens when they get misused? Also, I want you to now try to imagine your audience as someone who could financially improve your future. They're not getting paid to understand your text, but they might be able to see something valuable that you could provide for them if there is enough clarity in your writing. So put your technical documentation in its cultural context and use all means available to you to get your point across. Try to be as successful as the shamans in the past who taught future generations how to build the pyramid of the sun at Teotihuacan. And you might also have to convey somehow why they're building the pyramid of the sun. For instance, the president of a manufacturing company might write an article in the company newsletter to explain to employees why management decided to phase out production of one of the company's products. Administrators with the Department of Health and Human Services might hire a media production company to make a video that explains to citizens how to manage their Medicare benefits. The board of directors the board of directors of a community service organization might produce a grant proposal to submit to a philanthropic organization in hopes of being awarded a grant. Or you might create a document to reinforce or change attitudes and motivate readers to take action. A wind energy company might create a website with videos and text intended to show that building windmills off the coast of a tourist destination would have many benefits and few risks. A property owners association might create a website to make the opposite argument, that windmills would have few benefits but many risks. In each of these two cases, the purpose of communicating the information is to persuade people to accept a point of view and encourage them to act, perhaps to contact their elected representatives and present their views about this public policy issue. All right, so here we see two examples of things you might not consider documents until this class: a video, a website, and even though they're technical documents, they also have a somewhat of a persuasive element to them because it's not just information that you're trying to transmit, but behaviors. And therefore, there has to be some kind of rhetorical element to it. These types of communication have a clearly defined audience. One or more people who are trying to read the document, attend the oral presentation, visit the website, or view the video you produce. It's also possible, even likely, that a piece of technical communication will have multiple audiences with different purposes. For example, suppose you are a public health scientist working for a federal agency. You and your colleagues just completed a study showing that for most adults, moderate exercise provides as much health benefit as strenuous exercise. After participating in numerous meetings with your colleagues and after writing, critiquing, and revising many drafts, you produce 4 different documents: a journal article for other scientists, a press release to distribute to popular print and online publications, a blog post and podcast for your agency website. And where's the 4th one? Not sure. In each of these documents, you present key information in a different way to meet the needs of a particular audience. So just hypothetically, going back in time, once again, to our structure here, there were likely multiple versions of the text. There was information to give to the builders about how to go about it, and perhaps they had to share some information about how the patterns of the stone would fit together, when these shelves would occur somehow. There may have been different information to convince people with more power to continue to encourage the labor in their people. And there was this kind of maybe top-level information about why they're doing it at all, which God was going to be pleased and why. There's also this very interesting element about, if you notice, looking at the Pyramid of the Sun, these shelves kind of match the mountains in a certain way. How did they communicate to each other from down here? Also, you're supposed to look at the Pyramid of the Sun from the Pyramid of the Moon, which is where this camera is. How did you communicate to people down here to match the outline in an abstract way of the mountain behind it? We don't know, but they had multiple ways of communicating this information, surely, just as you may have multiple ways of communicating information about your program. Every time you meet with your team, those conferences are documents in a way. Every time you meet with your sponsor, the words spoken in that meeting are geared towards that situation and with an understanding of how much the people in that meeting understand. And what we have to do now is to take our ability to reformat knowledge for different cultural audiences towards a new audience, the imagined audience of the professional world that we're going to gear your project report for. I want to go over a couple more documents here. According to Mike Markell, these are some characteristics of a technical document. It addresses particular readers. Knowing who your readers are, what they understand about the subject, and how well they speak English, as well as how they'll use the document, will help you determine the type of document to create. Now remember, with your project report, a lot of people who reading that report are going to be computer scientists. However, they still might not know exactly what your process was for creating the program. And additionally, there are cross-disciplinary aspects to your project as well. People outside of the computer science discipline are going to want to understand your project. It helps readers solve problems. You might produce a video that shows your company's employees how to select their benefits, or a text document that explains the company's social media policy. What is the problem that your report needs to solve? It needs to kind of stand in for you and explain the explain the computer program, how your group came up with it, why it's sound, and what it does. It is produced collaboratively. Yep, you're in a group right now, and probably no one person could have done what your team accomplished. No one person has all the skills, information, or time to create a large document. You will work with a variety of technical professionals inside and outside your organization to obtain the information you need. I actually don't know why it says no one person has all the skills, information, or time to create a large document. It seems like that might happen from time to time. It uses design to increase readability. Design features such as typography, spacing, and color help make a document attractive, navigable, and understandable. It reflects the organization's goals and culture. Organizations produce documents that help them further their goals and that demonstrate their values and culture to the outside world. It consists of words or images, or both. Images, both static and moving, can communicate difficult concepts, instructions, descriptions of objects, and processes. Descriptions of objects and processes, and large amounts of data. They can also communicate information to non-native speakers. Here are measures of excellence in technical documents. Clarity. An unclear technical document can be dangerous and incur additional expenses. Accessibility. A good technical document can be accessed, explored, and used by people with varying physical abilities. Comprehensiveness. A comprehensive document provides readers with a complete, self-contained discussion. Professional appearance. If the document looks professional, readers will form a positive impression of it and of you. Your document should adhere to the format standards of your organization or your field, and it should be well designed. Usability. In technical communication, usability measures how successfully a document achieves its purpose and meets its audience needs. A slight inaccuracy can confuse and annoy your readers. A major inaccuracy can be dangerous and expensive. Conciseness. You can shorten most writing by 10 to 20% by eliminating unnecessary phrases, choosing shorter words, and using economical grammatical forms. Correctness. A correct document adheres to the conventions of grammar, punctuation, spelling, mechanics, and usage. Incorrect writing can confuse readers, make your documents inaccurate, and make you look unprofessional. Honesty. The most important measure of excellence is honesty. Not only are dishonest documents unethical, but they can hurt readers and can result in serious legal repercussions. Okay, and honesty is what we're going to talk about next time as we delve into the ethics of technical communication. A quiz on today's lesson will appear in the CS4962 class module, and you also get an email reminding you to take it. If you didn't take notes, consider watching this video again. Enjoy the quiz, and I'll see you next time.